All right. So let's get started. I've woken up feeling about 100 years old today, so this is a perfect type class for me to be doing. You're going to start by taking one of your balls and you're going to place it down on the floor. So we're going to start with the feet. If you think about all of the little pressure points that we have in our feet, it's a great place to start. Really nice way to begin to open up all the muscles down the back of the body. Now I'm choosing quite a soft ball, not quite as soft as a tennis ball, this one, but close enough. And you'll find that if you're not used to rolling, if this is a new thing for you, then you're going to want to go softer rather than harder. We can be quite sensitive to begin with. Actually, it's probably a little bit too soft for me today. I roll quite a bit, so I have a great tolerance. So we're going to start by taking the ball from your heel all the way to your big toe and back. So you're going to run a kind of plow that ball down into the ground or into the carpet. The harder the surface underneath you really, the better, the more pressure you're going to get back from that ball. And then take it from the heel to your second toe. I'm just going to be creating a line from the heel to that second toe, to the metatarsals, little bones underneath, sort of like the knuckles of the feet. And then from the heel to your third toe. And it doesn't matter which side you start with, although whenever I get a massage, my massage lady always starts with my left side. She says that that's the left side's more feminine, more receptive, and that can help to teach the right side what to do. All right, and then finally from the heel to your little toe. And now, finding a spot on the foot, maybe you want to roll the foot around a little. I find that just underneath the ball of the foot, sort of in the arch of the foot, is a really sensitive spot for me. So I'm just going to hang out on that for a second. I've got my heel all the way on the floor, and I'm just gently pressing my foot, rounding it over the ball. So we begin to get a little bit of movement into the feet. We've got so many bones in the feet, and it's an area that we often neglect. All right, now we're going to roll the ball. So we keep the heel on the floor. We've got the ball underneath the ball of the foot, and we're just going to sort of wave the foot. So just rolling from big toe to little toe and back again. And obviously putting as much pressure as works for you. And if we get to any area of the body today, we're only going to probably have time for the lower body. We'll do the upper body next week. But if you get to any area that's sharp or uncomfortable, if you've got any injuries, then please look after those. Once again, it's not a no pain, no gain situation. We want to really look after ourselves. Okay, finally, we're going to take the toes and we're just going to wrap them around the ball as if you're trying to pick the ball up with your toes and just getting a little movement in there. Great, already feeling good for me. Okay, release it down and just stand, feet hip distance apart. Close down the eyes and just feel the receptivity through that foot that you've just worked versus the other one. So I often find that once you've worked an area, it becomes a lot more alive. Okay, open up the eyes. Let's roll it over to the other side. No pun intended. And we're going to take the ball and roll it from heel to big toe. And obviously you can really push down on the ball depending on how that feels for you. Awesome. So we have fascia all the way through our body. This is our connective tissue, heel to second toe now. And it's all interconnected. So when we roll our feet, we could very much be doing good for our shoulder. So just stick with it. We're going to start at the base and we're going to work our way up. Great. Okay, so middle toe, Once again, just kind of shearing into it. And feeling all the little spots in the feet that might be a little bit sensitive, tender. And just respecting those. Great. And then fourth toe. And so these balls that I'm using here are lacrosse balls. Go to little toe. They come in a pack of 3. And we've got a yellow one soft, orange is medium, and the red ones are tough. I find that's really good because different areas of the body are like different sensitivities. So say the neck, for example, for me is a really, really tender area. Take the heel to the floor and just take it underneath the arch of the foot, just gently press down. Whereas for the feet, I might like something a little firmer. Once I start getting into the really sore areas of the glute, I might want to back off again. Lower back might want to go a little bit firmer. Just depends on you and your body. It's nice to have a couple of options. If you've only got tennis balls, that's fine, absolutely fine. You don't need any fancy equipment. Okay, so heels on the floor, and then we're just going to take a little wave of the foot and just rolling from side to side. Is there anyone that wears high heels regularly? This is a great one for you. And in fact, even just rolling your foot over a wine bottle, how did I discover that, is also just a really nice way of giving the foot a bit of a massage. Okay, and then all 5 toes, just squeezing as if you're trying to pick the ball up. And just wrapping in around the ball. And feel how that stretches out the tendons and ligaments in the top of the foot. Super. Okay, cool. That's the feet. So just take a moment, just stand. Notice where you place your feet. In fact, if you close your eyes down, it becomes a little easier to work all this out. So notice if the weight is going through the heels of the feet, if maybe you're a little bit more centered towards the front. I want you to see if you can draw the body weight so that you're equal between heels and balls of the feet. And now really press into the pinky toe sides of the feet and lift up through the arches. Just feel how that sort of suction cups your foot to the floor. Beautiful. Okay, lift up all 10 toes, spread them wide, and then place them down. Nice. So we're going to come down to the floor. We'll spend the rest of the time on the floor. I'm going to back off for this next one. Have a little bit of a knee injury, so I'm going to go really soft. I'm going to tennis balls for this one. So we're going to start tucking the toes under, and we want to try to get the pinky toe on the floor as well, if that's available. And we're going to take the tennis balls and we're going to place them all the way in behind the knee. And then weight can stay into the hands, or if you're feeling that you can sit back, then sit back a little. And so we're going to work our way along the leg, probably only doing 3 spots here. But because we're sort of concertinaing the leg, we're going to be getting hamstrings as well as calves. So just a little bit of weight back. Now you might be really okay with just sitting all the way up. You could even grab your block, book, place it on the heels and sit back. I don't know that I can do that one today. But wherever you're at, just being happy with that. And once you're there, maybe just take a little wiggle of the hips side to side, feeling that as a massage. Ooh. And be okay about making funny faces and weird noises, because that happens. Great. Little sway side to side. Awesome. Okay, we're going to come down a little lower now. So more into the belly of the calf muscle. And then sitting back. Yeah. And again, if you're not here, if you're not sitting all the way up, if your hands are still on the floor and it's really sensitive, yeah, that's how it is for you today. And it will be really different day by day. For women too, when we menstruate, we often get a little bit more sensitive, that kind of thing as well. So just go with how you're feeling. Rolling's always a great way, especially if you do have an injury, a really great way to prepare any muscles before we work out. So as I said, I have a bit of a knee issue, so I'll often roll IT band and my inner thigh before I start, feet too, before I start a weights workout. Just prepare the muscles. All right, cool. So you should be feeling a bit of a stretch into the feet too now. Okay, we're going to take it down a little deeper. So thinking more the Achilles. I'm going to flip my feet for this one. And I'm going to come all the way to sit down. Now, if you can keep your toes tucked, great. You can do that too. For me, that's just a little bit too much. So sitting down, and you can also place the block underneath you as well. If sitting all the way back is not okay. And just a little rock of the transfer of the weight side to side can be a way of getting a nice little massage in there too. Awesome. Nice. Okay. Come on out of there. We're going to do just a little bit for the calves. Not too much. Just trying to give you an overall view of things that you can do for each of the body parts. So taking the ball, placing it underneath, hands go back, and then just a little bend and extend. So just pressing. Maybe I'll come a little bit sideways so you can see that a bit better. So just a little bend and extend and rolling it along, and just sort of working out, am I sore on the outside, inside, straight down the middle, just finding any of those spots. And if you're doing it, you're thinking, I'm not really feeling anything, you take it an inch either side, and I'm sure you'll find something. So coming up a little bit higher, a little bit more into the belly of the calf, and giving it a little roll. And then you're going to take your other leg, just cross it on top. And then if it's not too much, you can cross it all the way to the ankle and just let that other leg create a bit more weight. And so we're just pressing the weight down and onto the ball. And then again, little rock side to side, you might find some little juicy, crunchy spots. Yeah. Okay. And then come off there. Now, another one I like to do is to take the ball, and we're going to be running it along just on the outside edge of the tibial bone. And so anyone that does a lot of running, shin splints, that kind of stuff, this can be a nice one for you. So a little roll side to side. You might want to stay close because the ball sometimes escapes. So just a little rock a long ways. Now, another really cool tool is these peanut-shaped ones. You don't need to buy one of these specifically. You can just take 2 tennis balls and put them in a sock. And then you can do cool things like putting the balls together and just running either side of the shin bone, forward and back. Wow. Yeah. So that's another nice one. And if that's not happening, just use your hands. So it's rolling down. Awesome. All right, other side. So starting underneath sort of near the Achilles, underneath the calf, just a little gentle push with the foot, extending the leg, energy out through the heel. Oh, I saw this side. Just noticing the difference side to side. Awesome. And then come up a little higher, so more belly of the calf. And again, just little rolls, maybe side to side. If you find a spot where you just like to linger, you can just place a little weight there, maybe take the foot across. And if you can handle it, crossing at the ankles all the way to the legs, pressing down on that spot. And then just gently rock a little bit side to side. Cool. Oh, and maybe just a little bit higher on this side as well. Awesome. So across the front, so on the outside of that shin bone, just a little gentle roll side to side. Awesome. And then along the front with your double, if you've got that set up, or otherwise just use your hands. It's good too. Oh, nice. Awesome. Okay. So now we're going to get a little bit into the quads. This next little sequence is probably one of my favorites and one that I do most often. So what we're going to do is we're only going to use one ball at a time. I'm going to do one side at a time because I think it's quite intense. We're going to have 5 little stops, so 5 stops along each leg. And we're going to start, our very first spot's going to be into the groin, so into the hip flexor, and we're going to be activating the psoas. The next spot's going to be just sort of like a couple of inches down, halfway down the top of the leg, a little bit down again, and then just above the knee. So there are 5 spots, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Because once we get down, it's a little bit hard to see what's happening. So starting on whatever side you like, I'm going to start on my left this time. So we're going to take the ball all the way into the groin. We're going to lie all the way down on the belly, and you're going to place your weight onto the ball. I invite you to come all the way down to the floor. So stack the hands, rest the forehead onto the hands, and then just slowly flex the foot and bring the heel to your bum. We're going to do that about 10 times in each spot. So we want the breath to be nice and slow and steady. And once again, if you're not feeling it yet, that's cool. I'm sure that once we get the knee off the floor, you will definitely feel it. All right, I'm not counting, so let's say that's 10. And now we're going to come down just a couple of inches. So we're not at the halfway yet. And then just bend and extend. I like to flex as I lift and point as I lower. Just activates the muscles a little more. And once again, if you're not feeling it, you can roll a little bit either side of the spot, and I'm sure you'll get some feedback. Nice. Okay, let's come down a little deeper. So we're about halfway point now. So for me, this is where my knee lifts off. So there's a bit more weight going through the ball, and the sensation gets a little stronger for me here. And don't rush it. Take your time. Wow. Amazing. All right, come down a little bit lower again. So we're not quite at the knee. We're still above that, resting all the way down. Little point, little flex. Little point, little flex. That's 2. And 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8, 9, and 10. Awesome. Okay, last stop on this leg, on this side. So just above the knee, so we're not on the patella, we want to be on the muscles rather than the bones. And then once again, a little lift, a little lower for 3, and 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, and 10. Lovely. Come on up, and we're going to take that over to the other side. I just think I mustn't be working as hard as I usually am. That's usually much more painful for me, so that's good. Less classes. Okay, so ball coming into the groin, all the way onto your belly. Wow. Oh, maybe I was just waiting for this side. And then little point as you lift, little flex as you lower. Feel free to move the ball around so that you get sensation. And then relax. Soften down. Close the eyes. Always good to close the eyes when you're doing this kind of work. Sends the awareness more in, less likely to get distracted by what's happening around you. You can really focus on sensation. Really notice what's happening in your body. Yeah, I'm not counting, so let's say that's 10. Let's come down a little bit lower, just a couple of inches. And then bend and extend. Wow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Lovely. Okay, about halfway now. And then 1, and 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 6, 7, 8, and 9, and 10. Great. All right, down a little bit lower. Not quite all the way yet. And 1, just relaxing. Giving your weight to the ball. I usually get a massage once a week. I teach lots of classes. And of course, since the whole coronavirus explosion, there's been no massage. And so this self-care becomes really important. Nice. I reckon that's about 10. Let's come down a little bit closer. So this is the last one just before the knee. I got a bag of tennis balls. I think there's 12 in there. It cost me $15 at Rebel. So that's enough for the whole family. You just got to keep them away from the dog. Ooh. I think a couple more. Beautiful. And release it. I'm going to come on up. So let's come over to our side. Let me take the ball underneath the glute. So I'm going to do one at a time here as well. And we're going to drop our, so I want to keep it under the glute. I don't want to quite get into TFL yet. We'll get there in a second. You're just going to drop the leg open. Actually, we could probably do both of these at the same time. Let's do that. Let's make the use of our time because we run out of time really quickly. So just underneath the glutes, you want to still be able to keep your sit bones on the floor, and you're just tucking the balls in underneath the meaty part of your butt. You're going to take the feet wide. Ooh, a little windshield wiper. Okay, for me that's really strong. So if you do lots of squats and that kind of thing, this is like a little piece of heaven just for you. So just rolling the knees side to side. Beautiful. Okay, taking the balls now, we can do both of these at the same time too, to the insertion point of the hamstrings, at the top. And then send the legs out long, and then as much as you can, fold forward. Now I've got a really big bend in the knees. I'm not trying to get as deep as I possibly can to forward fold. I'm just wanting to put a little bit more weight onto the balls. And of course, if this is too much, you do one at a time and then you do the other side. Sometimes it can be a little bit too much sensation when we do both sides together. And let's move them down just a little bit deeper, just a little lower. Maybe take the elbows onto the thighs. That's going to be a little bit more weight. Great. And then last time, a little closer to the knee. So we've already got these spots before. This is just a little revisit. All right, and now we're going to come to TFL. I've not met a person yet who doesn't experience this one. This is excruciating for some. In fact, I might go to a yellow one for this one. So what we want to find is you want to lie down. You want to find your hip bone. And then roll into that little crevice just underneath the hip bone and then out to the side. And then we're going to roll our weight onto the ball. There we go. Find the spot. Maybe you can come down to the floor. Maybe you can't. That's okay. That top leg can sit behind you, and that's going to take a little bit of the weight, make it a little less intense. If you're a sucker for punishment, and you want to take that leg, just a little bicycle of that leg, amazing. And if all of that's a bit too much, you can always just leave the leg down and then just practice sort of squeezing the butt, engaging the butt, and then relaxing down onto the ball. So we're getting into that TFL piriformis. Little squeeze, little release. Little squeeze, little release. Oh my goodness, good times. Squeeze and release. Okay, enough of that. So, because I don't want to miss out on IT band, we're going to take the ball. Now this one, you may need to take a bit more weight into the hands. You're just going to roll along that. So this band, this IT band, is actually just a thick band of fascia. So that's what this is all about, getting into that fascia. We're just going to roll along. Now, people that do lots of sports, IT bands are often really tight. Nice. And you can find little spots where it's a bit tender. Just sit for a bit, give it a bit of weight. You might find a little knot and want to take a little roll around. Just listen to your body. Your body knows what's going on. All right, we don't want to miss out, so let's come to the other side. Looking for our hip bone, the pointy bit. Roll the ball down into the crease just underneath that, and then over to your side, and then we're going to roll onto that ball. Ooh. Great. Back foot resting behind you. Take a little bit of the weight If you want a little bit more, then just a little bicycle of the leg. Lovely. So if you spend a lot of time, I know I'm talking about sport and all the rest of it, but if you spend a lot of time sitting at a desk, this is another area that gets really tight. Hips. Awesome. Maybe just a little rock onto that one. Nice. Great. All right, come on out. Let's get a little IT band in before we run out of time. So again, take the weight into the hands. Just roll yourself along that outer belt of fascia. Maybe take it a little bit lower, a little closer to the knee. Yeah. Great. So good. So good. Okay. Last little one before we are done. So we need where'd it go? We need 2 balls for this one. We're going to come all the way down to the floor, lift up the butt, and take the balls into glute max. So find a spot. I'm sure you'll find one. And then take the soles of the feet together, the knees go wide, and then just little gentle rocks side to side. And obviously there's a lot we can do here. We can sit up and take the weight into the hands and roll the hips around. We can take the legs out wide and do our little windshield wipers. We can change position, come a little bit higher. We just want to try and avoid the bones, so we don't want to be on the sacrum. We don't want to be on the sit bones. We want to stick to the juicy muscle. Yeah. Beautiful. And then release it. Send the legs out long. Just take a moment. Close down the eyes. And just feel all the way from the toes, soles of the feet, shins, calves, backs of the knees, IT bands, quads, hamstrings, up into the glutes. You'll probably feel warm where we've massaged all that extra blood flowing to that area. Take a deep breath in, bring the knees into the chest, give yourself a little squeeze and come on up.